In this video, we're going to add a fourth kind of JavaScript data type, arrays, which are going to allow us to represent more complex kinds of data. We've already seen numbers and strings and booleans, and these data types are the tools in our toolbox that allow us to represent the data that we need to represent in our programs. And now we're going to add arrays, which is the next level of complexity in terms of being able to represent all the different kinds of data we need to hold. The first example we'll see is an array as a collection of related data. This is an example of a JavaScript array representation of all of the days of the week. This array example has a couple of properties. One is that it's holding other kinds of data, so in that particular case, strings. The second is that it's the same kind of data, so they're all string types, and they're all names of the days of the week. And then the last thing is that it implies order. So the first day of the week is Monday, and the last day of the week is Sunday. And that order is implied inside of the array itself. An array is different because an array is a container of containers. So one element in the array can hold one value, and another element in the array can hold a second value. The array refers to the collection of all of the elements. Once I've defined this structure, just like any other kind of value, a number or a string or boolean, I can take it and put it inside of the container of the variable. Once the array has been created, each element in the array has an order, and the order starts at 0 for the first element. If I want to access the first element in the array, I need to mention the variable name of the array and square bracket, and then the number of the element. Let's see some more examples of arrays that represent this kind of data that are all the same type and imply order. Here is all the letters in the alphabet, a list of all the McDonald's drink sizes from small to large, a list of all the Fast and Furious movies in the order that they were released. Again, we can use the square bracket syntax to access a specific value inside the array. And the integer index of the array means that this is encoding the position of a particular letter. So 1 plus 2 also indicates the relative position of a different letter. So D is 2 spaces from B. Let's start coding. I'm going to create a very simple example of a program that accesses a single data value in the array. I've created a new copy of the starter code and pasted in my alphabet array at the top of my program. So what this program is going to do is take a user input. The user is going to input a number, and that's going to be the location in the array. And the program is going to print out the letter at that location. So the input is the location in the array, and I'm going to do square bracket, and then the thing that's going to come out is the letter, and the index, the location, is going to be what the user typed in. And then I'm going to output the letter. Let's save this and see it in the browser. So now if I type in a location of the array, then I should get out the letter. And the last location in this array is going to be 25 because the array starts at index 0. We saw that arrays could represent a set of data that doesn't change, like the days of the week or all the letters in the alphabet. Now we'll look at a different kind of set of data which is data that could shrink or grow over the lifetime of the program. This is the syntax for an array that's created with 0 elements inside of it. And if I want to put elements inside this array, now that I've created it, I want to use the push function. The argument to the push function is the value that I want to put inside the array. Now this array has 1 item inside of it, and I can call the push function again, and that puts a second item inside. So now let's put this into the starter code so that the user can make an action and my array is recording all of the actions that the user has made up to that point. I've created a new copy of the starter code for my program. Now let's put in the array. So this is a global variable, and we're going to add a new item to the array every time the user types something in. It hits the submit button. So this array is going to be continually keeping a record of all of the things that the user has typed in. So now let's write the push function, which happens inside of the main function. And the thing I'm going to put in is the user input. And then we're going to print out the entire array. Let's save this and see it in the browser. Now whenever I type anything in the input box and hit submit, this is going to be recorded in the array, and we're going to see it in the gray box. So we saw 2 kinds of representations of data using arrays. One is the predetermined set of data that implies order, such as all of the letters in the alphabet or all of the days in the week. And then we saw the representation of the set of data that the program is capturing as the user makes actions. So as in all of the guesses that the user has made in a game of dice. And the next thing we're going to talk about representing is the action of the program that looks at that set of values. So the set of actions in the program that visits each of the user guesses, no matter how far into the life cycle of the program it currently is. So if the user has made 1 guess or 1,000 guesses, how do we encode that action into our program?